Okay. Welcome, guys. You're welcome to. Okay. Welcome, guys. You're welcome to. Yeah, you're welcome to. You're welcome to this session. You're welcome to this session. We are going to be diving straight into the business of the day. So we just have in this session. I mean, we're going to go over the Z Finance SDK and also the Layer-2 DeFi protocol. So I mean, we're going to go over the SDKs, that you can introduce into your dApps, for higher yield into your DeFi apps. So we are going to be stepping into the session, and we have with us the head of integrations and also a senior engineer in Xend Finance. So I'm going to be bringing him upstage to start the session. He's going to be taking us on an introduction into Xend Finance SDK and also Xend Finance Layer-2 DeFi protocol. So he's going to be taking us, step-by-step introduction to get us to understand Xend Finance SDK that has been built for developers to use, and integrate into their dApps, into their DeFi apps for higher yield. So please, let's welcome Kali. He's also called Ugochukwu, which is his name. So he's the head of integration in Xend Finance and a senior engineer. He's going to be taking us into the session, and from there we'll take it on. So welcome, Ugochukwu.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think I'm supposed to be showing now.
Yeah. So you can I think you can go on now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I think this is the second time again that um, I'm coming on this um, like a stream like this explaining the SDK. So, but this second time, I think there has been upgrades to what we've done like since the last time that we came on, we're explaining about the SDK and how to use it. So the intention is, I mean, we can just go through maybe like explanation and examples on how you can start using this if you've not tried it before, and even if you used it before, to now see that, like as we promised before about uh, integrating the layer 2 protocols to the SDK. So you can see how to use it here too. So that's what we're doing this time. So I think what I can do is I'll share my screen, then we can continue from there. Yep. Okay. I think this is it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I think the starting point just be from the documentation. So if you go to docs.zen.finance, let me just go back so that will be easy for us to follow. So you go to docs.zen.finance, we are putting some things to help you understand better what's going on. So, but where we're actually interested in today is the registry. So this registry has the um, the contract so far that Xend Finance has deployed. So if you can remember before now, we mostly had the Venus protocol, Fortune, the $5. So, but now there's now X volts and X auto. So these are like the layer 2 protocols. So just to explain again what those layer 2 protocols are, and it has been designed in such a way that you always make the highest possible yield that you can for these different currencies that we have. So these different tokens that we have. So you know that if you're saving with XBUSD, for example, here, you know that the interest you're making or the yield you're making when your funds are like saved here is always going to be like the highest possible one available. So that's what we've done like this so that you're able to use it in your own projects and like the like the reward for today of someone being able to participate and use this is if you're able to use it, there's even like a $300 dollar reward for you just using the SDK as it has already provided for you all the things that you might need to do what you want to do. So and also there's also supports Polygon mainnet right now. So you can actually save with XOT on Polygon if your project is deployed on Polygon. So yeah, so these are the version 2 or this is like the recommended contracts for you to use for these different currencies. So if your application is using BUSD, something like the Xend Finance application, so you'll be using like this particular contract. Let me just open it here. So same thing for if you're using USDC, USDT. You can decide to use all of them if you want in your application. You must not use just one. So, but depending on the one you want to use, you can yeah, you can now use the contract that is for that particular token. So these contracts you could actually make use of it like directly. You probably don't need to. It's not compulsory that to use these contracts that you have to maybe install a node, the Zen Finance SDK. So we'll try to make it easy for if your application is built on Node or if your application can be built on Node, you just install the SDK like the normal how we always do npm install. You just install it and you're good to go. You just be making use of these contracts directly, so you don't need to actually think about what's the correct contract address to use or the ABI to use and all. So that's like the benefit of the SDK. But if you don't want that, you can actually just come and get the contract addresses, get the API. And if you know what to do, if you have a Web3 client for your application, you can go ahead. If you're using JavaScript, you can use web3.js. If you're even using Python, Python has a web3.py package you can use, and you just talk to the contract directly. The contract's already like on the blockchain, so you don't need to worry about that. So yeah, so that's those are like the routes you can take using Design Finance contract. If you don't want to use it, then you now go the whole route of maybe building your own contracts, which this has already taken that heavy load from you. These contracts are already taking that heavy load from you, so you don't necessarily have to do that. So what I want to just do now is I'll just I'll just create a small, let's say, a small JavaScript project that will actually use these contracts, and we can just see it in action. So, so that you can see maybe if there was a place you're making mistake or you're not still using it, you can see how easy it is actually to make use of this contract. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Not too much talk. All right. Come. Yes, sure. I was still muted. So I want to just quickly spin up a simple, okay, let me just use a simple Node.js app where we can install the SDK and make use of it. So just create the entry file for application, and I can go ahead now to install the SDK. So the version 2, there are like different versions of the SDK. So this version 2.2, this is the latest version, and it has support for the layer 2 protocols. So that's what we just install and go ahead and want to build. So you can just come to your terminal and install the package. So once it's done, you can just import it. Let's just wait for it to get done. So you can just go to see how simple is it to actually use it. And so to also do this, you you need to have the private key for your wallet available. So there are different ways you can actually make use of this. So you can have like a custodial wallet you can use for that handles all the interactions with the blockchain for your application. So maybe you want it in such a way that you just have one wallet that you can manage. So you can use that like as a custodial system. Or if the design of your application is in a way you can every of your user can have like is a particular wallet and their private key, if maybe you're managing it or yeah, or something like that. So what happens is when the person wants to save, um, you just use the person's private key or use your own private key, the custodial private key, to sign the transactions, and you can go to the blockchain and do your savings or your withdrawals or anyhow you want it to be. So you need to have your private key. But you know, as its private key, it needs to actually be secure. Best if there's a way you can do it without taking your your private key online, so that you don't lose it or someone else doesn't have access to it. Because if someone has access to it, you can lose your funds. So you have to be very careful about it. So if you can find a way of encrypting it or just not allowing someone to have access to your private key so that your business can move forward. So I just import the SDK here and can just create a variable for our private key. We'll get it later. Then we can import the SDK here. So the way it's exported, if you're using like the ES 2015, that's the version of JavaScript you're using, and you're doing this require like this. You're not doing maybe import from if you're not using this method. Yeah. So this method you can just go ahead and import the package, sorry, the XAuto or XVolts object, which can use to do like the savings that I want to do, just like how it is in the, in the documentation. So, but since we're using this ES 2015 version, so it's exported as a default package, so I can call it maybe Xend Finance. Okay. So, so with this now, I can actually start doing deposits and withdrawals. So you see that there's almost no blockchain thing that's actually coming to play here now. So like let's say I want to do a deposit. So you can just I can call it maybe make my deposits or just the way it is in the documentation. So make deposits is an asynchronous function. So what we'll do first is to initialize the SDK. So we just imported it here. So we want to initialize it now. So I'm doing that. Xend Finance. So what you actually need to do this initialization, you need the chain ID. I'll just write them out here. You need the chain ID. So this chain ID is a number that represents the different networks or crypto networks that are available to use here with this with the SDK. So if you maybe go online, you can see like some of these chain IDs. 56 actually represents the Binance Smart Chain, the Binance Smart Chain. There's also, at least as we support here, there's also for the chain ID for Polygon, which is 137. So yeah, so we cannot use it to const here. So using this illustration we're doing here now, we're using the Binance Smart Chain. Then apart from the chain ID, we also need the private key. The private key is supposed to be the next thing to pass. So just as we have it here. So pass the chain ID, the private key, and the environment. So that is mainnet or on your local device. That's your local spin up of the blockchain. Maybe you're using Ganache or Hard Hat. Then so the private key. You can get the private key from your MetaMask or any wallet you're having that enables you to be able to get the private key. I'm guessing you know how to do, but if you don't know how to do it, if you come to if you open your MetaMask, sorry, you open your MetaMask, you can get your private key from that particular account. Just go to this ellipses here, account details. Then you can export your private key here. So once you do that, then you can use it for you put in your password and you get the private key. Then you can find the place for it in your application. So I'll just do that here. I'll get like the private key for one of the accounts and do that here so that we can continue with our tests of like for deposit and withdrawal. So let me just go ahead and do that quickly. All right. I had to hide my screen to copy my private key. So yeah, so we can access the private key from the environment file you have in your application. Process.env dot I call it private key. I call it PK. So but in this application now we need to install something like .env, the package .env. It's supposed to allow us to be able to access the variables in our environment file. So let me just do that. Then I dot env. So yeah, so that's done. So we have our chain ID, then the private key, and like from the example here, we need to pass in the environment. So by using, we just go ahead to use the mainnet. So from from the first from when we started, like in our documentation here, so we have X volts that gives high yield. We also have X auto that gives high yield. So for like your own understanding, our you can actually go to our layer 2 UI. You can see where like these things are in action. People saving into these different protocols. Let me just open it so you can see. Okay, yeah. So this layer 2 UI, this auto yield. So you can actually it's like a UI implementation of what the SDK can do. So you can save with X volts or X auto. Like if you come here, at the moment I'm connected, so I can disconnect and connect my wallet again just to show. So if you come here, you can see how much is locked in the X volts on Binance matching. So let me just connect my application, connect X auto and MetaMask. So on MetaMask, if your application is using USDT, see, you'll be able to, as you save, you can see like the balance of what you saved here. Plus, you can actually see like the APYs of these different tokens here in the on the auto yield website. Same thing for something like the X volts. You can also see like the APYs for for the different tokens that we currently support. So, so for this demonstration, I want to use um, I want to use the X auto and the X auto, the BUSD token in the X auto. So for if we're using the SDK, what you just need to do is to bring in like the X auto. So if your editor has intelligence, you can see it just gives you like the options that are available if you type in the X. So if I want to use X auto, so I'll just select X auto, and I can go ahead to like do the deposits. So the deposits are simple as just for the deposit receipts. Auto dot deposit. So you see, once you just do the different options on the SDK available are here. So you can do like approval before you do the deposits and you can know the chain ID that you're currently using. The deposit native, if you're depositing like BNB for Binance matching. You can see your private key, the price per full share, and withdraw. So once you just do the dot, you can select like the available methods that the SDK currently has. If I want to do a deposit, what I can actually do is to just do deposits. And in deposits, I can pass the token that I want to deposit into. So, and I want to use BUSD. So I could decide to use any of these tokens here available. So I could decide to do I could decide to save a BUSD or USDC or USDT or BNB. So, but in this account, I currently have BUSD in it. So that's why I'm going with the USD. I think maybe I can just write them out here. In the amount, I'd say I think I have for BUSD in it currently. So to do the deposits, I just come here and I pass in the token in and also the amount. So I'll log the receipts. Yeah, let me log the receipt and the transaction hash. Sorry, let me log the transaction hash and the status. So if any error comes, we'll see and know why. So if I go ahead and try to do these savings, it might fail or it might not fail. So what I want to explain here is before you do like a deposit into a smart contract, it doesn't go like transfer as if you're transferring money from you're transferring funds from one account to another. It doesn't work that way. So what happens is you have to allow the contract to be able to take that money from your wallet and save it into itself. So that's how this particular one works. You say, okay, let me see. If it's BUSD you want to save into, so you say, okay, XBUSD, I want to allow you to be able to save $4 from my wallet into yourself. Then I can start, and the $4 can start getting yields as the time goes. So that's how the deposits work. So you have to do and to do that is have to do something like an approval. So you approve that amount you want, then after the approval, then the deposits can work. If you don't approve, the deposits will not work. So and to do that, we also have a method here on the SDK to do that approval. So since I need to do the approval first before I do the deposit, so what I can just do is I can say the approval receipts. Sorry, X auto dot approve. We already have approval. And you pass in something like the deposits and your approval amount. So comes back with the transaction receipt. So I just want to make sure that if it was successful, if the operation was successful, because status is a boolean, so if it was successful, then I can go ahead to save those funds into the protocol, into the Xend smart contract. So that's what I want to do. So I think at the moment I can run this code so that we can see, what is logged here. Let's say transaction receipt, transaction hash, and the status. So this is all it takes to actually do the deposits. So you can manipulate a function like this to undo what your project needs. Okay, let me just run it from the terminal. Okay. So say node index.js. Okay, sorry. To call the function. So Yeah. So, okay, can I read property and define static? Okay, sorry. I need to import the .env we installed so that getting this private key can work because we need that package for it to work. So I think I can just do required .env. We are good to go. So let me clear this and try again. Private key. Okay. I think this is not what yet. I need to add coffee. All right. Okay, sufficient gap. Okay, sorry. I need to put in. Okay, yeah. So, if this is like the first time that you'll be doing an action like this, your account probably doesn't have BNB to to perform the transaction. So just like this, as it is, any function or any transaction that is actually going to be writing to the blockchain, it needs like the gas fees, it needs BNB, that's on Binance Smart Chain. It needs BNB to be able to make that change. If it's on maybe Polygon, you need Matic to be able to make to be able to call that function or to do that particular operation you want to do. So what I'll just do now is to quickly send some BNB to this particular account here that is with this private key so that our operation here can go on. So if you see, these are like some of the things that you need to check before as you build your application. So you need to get like the private key and make sure that the thing is secured. Then you need to now decide which of the tokens or how many of the tokens you want to use for your application if you're saving or depositing into the smart contract with options like BUSD, USDT. Then also the network you want to save on, if it's on Binance Smart Chain or Polygon. Then also need to um, make sure that you have the BNB to pay gas fees for the operations that you're going to be performing. So that's it. So let me just quickly send BNB into this account, then we can proceed. All right, just did that. And yeah, so let me just go ahead and try the deposit again. Okay, so run the Node.js. Yeah, run it again. Yeah, so the deposit was successful. So what happened is he did the approval, and after the approval, the deposit happens. So you can actually take this transaction hash now to the BSC Explorer. I take it there and paste it to see like the details of it. So this is like see like what actually happened. So this is like the transaction receipts for the savings that we just did. So this is like 29 seconds ago. Is the public address of the account that was actually doing this. That's the public address for this private key. Then the amount that was actually saved for the USD. So this is like it. If you go to, you can also see like more details about like what happened. If you go to the, if you open the public address on Binance Smart Chain, so sorry, on BSC scan, so you can see like the approval that happened. So this is the approve that was called here. Yeah. So this is the approve that was called here. So this approve now enabled the deposit to happen. So just like how like we know what we understand with the blockchain, everything's like an open ledger. So you can actually see, all the things that actually happened for this transaction. So that's it. Like at the this example just went for deposits. You don't really need to have don't need to know how to write smart contracts or maybe take a course in Solidity or blockchain to use this particular code. So we just try to make it as simple as possible. I believe in the future we can still find more ways to make it like easier for anyone to use. So it's still good to know like what's happening and what like the technologies behind all these things. So you can maybe have better understanding of your application or how to use it or whether you even need to use it. So this is it. The deposit just happened. If I open the auto yield and refresh, you see that this particular amount has now been saved into this particular protocol. So yeah.
Yeah, so Kali, are you still there?
Okay, yeah, I want to reshare my screen. So.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So like I was saying, if you go to the BUSD on X Auto, because that's where the savings happened. So go to X Auto and BUSD. So you can like see the 4 BUSD that was actually saved from this account to the smart contracts. So as time goes on, you find out that this 4BUS begins to gain interest, and you're always like making money, and it's always using the highest possible yield that you can actually make um, on BUSD, like on Binance Smart Chain. So that's like how nice these protocols are. So, but after putting in your money or after saving your money, you have to be able to withdraw it. So actually make sense of what you are doing. So I'll just try to do like an example also for this particular 4 BUSD that we just saved now to be able to withdraw that money out, which is like one of the main things that um we'll be actually doing like with protocols like this. The other things can be like informational if you want to know maybe the price per full share at a particular time, because those things can be used for like your calculations in your application. So I'll just go ahead now and try to withdraw this particular amount we just saved. So yeah, let me just go back to the code. Yeah, so share the code again. All right. So if you want to now do like withdrawal for what we've done so far, it's for BSD we just saved. So just the way we did the deposits, can easily create a function that can let me see, make withdrawal so on and same function. So same thing, let me just copy this. We don't need to do approval here. So let me just copy this and paste here. So brought in export because that's where we're saving. So to do the withdrawal, withdrawal receipts. Wait, xauto withdraw. So just the same way deposit was, we can do the token name, comma, the amount. So want to withdraw for, or maybe we don't withdraw everything, but let's just withdraw everything. So the amount we actually saved here. So if this fund has gained interest, maybe after 30 days I left it, it's probably not going to be 4 again. So I can actually just come and the amount, maybe the max of what is currently available, you can actually just do it. Maybe your application can find a way of getting the max, and you can withdraw that particular amount. So as it can now manipulate your code to do what you want to do. So the same way we can just console the transaction hash and the status. Okay. The hash. So I'll comment the deposit because we don't have money against deposits. And make withdraw. So I can call this method now to do the withdrawal for us. So what it does is it goes to the contract, gets this amounts since we have it. If it is our account, if this private key or this wallet doesn't have 4, it's not work. So let me run node changes it here. Yeah, so okay, there's an error. So say transaction reverted. Let's see. So you can actually, if there's an error, you can actually take the transaction hash to the Explorer, maybe to get a better understanding of what is going on. So let me do just that. Okay, yeah, I was never sharing screen. All right. I think what I can just try to do is to retry the operation. Try to here, so I can check my DMD balance. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, let me take the transaction hash to the blockchain to the Explorer to see and know like what the cost is. Yeah.
Hey, Kali, are you still there? I can't hear you. Hello, Kali, are you still there?
Sorry, I muted my mic. I forgot that I muted my mic.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So I took the transaction hash to the Explorer to see to try and see what why the transaction was failing. So that's where I currently okay. Let me share my screen. I'm still sharing my code. Uh, okay, okay, yeah. So
We can't see your screen.
oh,
Yeah, Kali,
okay,
we can see your screen. Can you share it again?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Window. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So so I came to see because these were the two withdrawals that we tried to do that didn't go through. So I tried to see if I could get like the error and know maybe what's actually happening. So I think I can go back to the code to try it out again. Okay. So if okay, shit, I was not running this stuff again. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So I think it was like maybe like the network. Because I just tried to run the withdrawal again. I think I'll just run the deposit and withdrawal again. Tried to run the withdrawal again, and it was successful. So let me take the transaction hash to the explorer so that I can check. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So this was the transaction hash for the withdrawal that we just did. So it was 59 seconds ago for the $4 that we had saved inside. So that was like withdrawn back into our wallet. Let me go back to yeah. So the deposits, then withdrawal that just happened. So after you do your deposits, then when the time comes for withdrawal, you can always just call the method as it is here. Okay, so I need to switch as it is here to perform your withdrawal.
We can't see your screen, Kali. Can you share it again?
Okay. Yeah, sorry. My second screen is down, that's why. All right. So this is like the basic stuff that you need to do for deposits and withdrawals. So you see that apart from all these console logs, you don't actually need to write so much code to actually do these deposits and withdrawal. So if your app is depending on like the need for your application, you'll be able to um, flex like what we currently have to suit like what you're building. So this like I feel like the simplest way to actually make use of like Zen Finance contracts. So you could go like another way maybe if your application um is not a Node.js application. So something like maybe Python and you cannot install this package now in your application. It doesn't mean you cannot still use it. You can actually talk to the SDK. Sorry, you can actually talk to the smart contracts directly from your Python code um, if there's a Web3 package for Python or any other language actually. If there's a Web3 package, you can talk to the contract directly. I think maybe I can quickly try to do something like deposits. Yeah, I can even try to do deposits that's talking to the smart contract directly um, without the SDK. So having that example, just find out that you can actually use it to do anything that you want to do that concerns like these functions uh, that Xend Finance supports. So I think I'll just quickly create another file and see how fast I can go for talking to contract directly. Let me say talking to contracts. Right. So the first thing we need to know, you need to know which contract you want to talk to. So maybe I can just call it contracts. Uh, okay. And you need to know the contracts you want to talk to. Then you need to be able to get the ABIs for those contracts. So, okay, first, you need to actually know the Web3 client that you want to use. So, let me just quickly show us here. So, for something like Node or JavaScript, um, can use the popular. Okay, we can use the popular Web3 JS. Yeah. So, for this is like the Web3 JS documentation. I think something like Python has like their own Web3 Python. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so they have like Web3 has like a Python, a Web3 package. So you can actually use maybe a Python to do, and it's going to just be similar to maybe like the one for Node.js. If you just once you set it up how it's supposed to work, then you can start calling functions just like how you would have been doing for something like Web3 JS. So I just try and try and go through this example so I can see like a quick example of how you can do something like that. So this code that we're writing with JavaScript, you can always like translate it to whichever language you're writing. So let me just continue and share. Okay. Okay. So, so for this application, we need the Web3 client or Node.js. So to be able to get that, now we can npm install Web3. That's the name of the package. So after doing that, we can import it. Web3 will require Web3. Yeah. So then we can set up the Web3 with our custom RPC. So the RPC is like the link to the node to connect to like the particular network you want. So for something like Binance matching, let me just write BSC RPC. Something like Binance matching. Let me open their website so that we can see how to get some of those RPCs. Okay. So for something like Binance matching, if you go to docs.binance matching developer slash RPC. So you can see like available RPCs that they have. So you can actually connect to these different ones. See, these ones are like recommended, but they have other ones. So you can connect to their RPC, and once you do that with that Web3 package that we just did, you'll be able to be talking to or calling smart contracts from the Binance matching. So I can let me decide. I can take this first one. You can just take actually you can take any of them. So they're like this because sometimes maybe one of them might not be going through. Maybe in your application you can be seeing something like RPC error. So this like could be one of the reasons why you can come and maybe use another RPC, or you can take like all of them, and in your code maybe you have like an array of RPCs you want to use. So if something happens maybe to one of them, you can try with the second one instead of maybe having to maybe at that point trying to edit your code to talk to another RPC. So you can have like an array of all these RPCs and you can talk to them. So I'll just copy this and take to this code I will quickly want to write. So okay, copy, then okay. So I can come and paste. This is the RPC here. And you can set up like Web3 to be able to use that RPC. So let's say Web3 is equal to new Web3 belief. Then you pass in this your custom RPC. Let me call it ESC custom RPC. So yeah. So as it is now, we can actually make use of the Web3 objects how we want. So so maybe something like the deposit that we've done earlier. We can do like it with this. We can do it with this particular setup. So we can say let's make deposits. So okay, so yeah, so I think what can happen is okay, I think what we can do now is maybe instead of going on to with okay, I think maybe I can try and round up this so that we don't take too long on this session, and maybe continue from where we stop in the next section that we're going to have, I think, next week. So that maybe we can see how to use this method to actually enter your application. So if you don't want to go through using the SDK, maybe your project is not a node project. So there's like another alternative where you can set up your Web3 clients and talk to the contract directly. So I think maybe I'll just show you how to get the contracts and the ABIs, then we can continue from our next session. I think that's better because this is like already an hour. So for something like the BUS that we're saving with now, so if you want to be able to get the right contract address and the ABI to use, so I think the easiest way to do is just if you go to the documentation, the registry. Yeah. You go to the registry. Okay, yeah. So if maybe what you want to do, what you want to save, the contract you want to use is the XBUSD the version 2, which is like recommended. So you can actually just go, you can click on the link that's on the from the documentation. You can click on the link. So it opens up where the contract is on Binance Smart Chain. I'm sorry, on the Explorer. So this contract is verified already, so it makes it easy for you to be able to get like details about the contract. So you see the name is Xend BUSD XBUSD. So and this is the contract address. This is the contract address. So for us to use this to do like how we just use the SDK, so you need to copy this and take to your application, or if you have a place where you're keeping like all the addresses that you're using, you need to copy that. Then to get the correct ABI to use, just just see how to get that. Like under this contract tab now on the on BSC scan, you see this read as proxy. So this application, sorry, this contract is actually a proxy contract. So what that means is the contract address, it remains constant. So if maybe there are some kind of modifications to the contract itself, the implementation contract, to maybe we're adding like maybe new ways of making or getting higher yields, or maybe like some changes that needs to be done on the contract, this contract remains the same. Sorry, the contract address remains the same, because without it, maybe deploying a new contract means the contract address, that's this address, the contract address will change. So, but as it's a proxy contract, it will always remain like this. It will always be this particular contract address. So you don't need to worry about maybe keeping track of which address you're using currently or not. So but to get the ABI, what you just do is from this Explorer, you come to read as proxy contracts, right? So when you read as proxy contract, the implementations for this particular proxy contract, that's the ABI you need to get. And from like the website, you see ABI for implementation contract. So what you just need to do is you can come and click on this particular address, and from there, that's where you get like the ABI to use. So if you scroll down, so you see contract ABI, and you can export it here as a JSON. So once you do that, you can you can take it into your application and use as the ABI you can use to create the contracts to do the savings that we need to do. So that's it. I think, yeah, let me just copy it to the project so that in the next session we can continue from here and see how to use it without the SDK. So yeah, I think we can stop here for today. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kali, so much. Thank you for that introduction to the Xend Finance SDK, and also the L2 DeFi protocol. I know in the next sections we're going to get into the L2 properly. We're going to get into the L2 properly and in details. But for now, I think you've done justice to introducing the SDKs to us. And thank you so much, Kali. I don't know if you're still there. Can you unmute your mic? I think your camera is off also.
Okay.
So, so thank you so much, Kali. Thank you so much. So in our upcoming sessions, Kali's still going to go dive deep into the L2. He already has gone through the SDKs, which basically is just extracting all the work you have to do. You necessarily don't need to be a smart contract developer for you to be able to integrate the SDK into your DeFi apps. And of course, he also mentioned the advantages of using the Xend Finance SDK, which provides you with higher yield, when it comes to decentralized finance or your DeFi apps. So, I mean, we're going to get into the point where, I mean, in our next sessions, we're going to get into the point where Kali is going to be showing us how to integrate it into our apps. So, for example, you have a saving platforms and you want to integrate the DeFi and the Xend SDKs into your saving platforms. Kali is going to be taking us into the integration part of the session, which is going to come up in the next few weeks. So, guys, thank you for joining us. I don't think if you have any question, you can just post on the comment section so we can quickly ask Kali. If not, I think we'll just end the session and and we'll end the session here so that next time Kali is going to come, and take us deeply into the L2s and how to integrate it into our dApps. So thank you so much, Kali. I don't think there is any question. Is there any question? I don't think there's any question right now. So in the absence of that, thank you so much, Kali. Thank you for joining us in this first session. And we hope to see you next time. So guys, next time we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be getting on deeply into the Xend Finance L2. I will be showing you how to integrate it into your apps. So if you're thinking of building your DeFi apps, what you should be thinking about is how to integrate the Xend Finance SDK into your DeFi project. So next sessions, we're going to be doing that. Thank you for joining us in today's session. Thank you so much. This session is recorded, so you can quickly go back and check on what Kali has done and in the introduction he has given on the SDKs. So after ending this session, you can still go back and check on it. So thank you guys. See you in our next sessions. Thank you, Kali. Bye.